Compared to what it is now, it's an absolute nonsense. The Goldstone ground, Archer in charge, he actually ruined it.
I think he's taken over a club which was already doing well.
I knew the Goldstone had come to the end of its time.
Outside, supporters succeeded in blocking the main A27 at one stage. Inside, the popular side was almost deserted.
Did I really want to leave the Goldstone ground? Got to be honest, no. As a stadium, it wasn't bad. You had the chicken run, which was obviously the worst side of it, but it's also the most atmosphere on that side, with everyone standing and shouting. It used to be really nice.
I first went to the Goldstone when I was probably about 5 or 6, so that's nearly 60 years now. I knew the Goldstone had come to the end of its time because it was so poorly kept. It was a lovely ground to go to, but the infrastructure had gone completely AWOL. It was just really poorly looked after. Half the ground was closed by the time we got to the end of it.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, to be honest, because you didn't know what was going to happen, and there was so much animosity towards the directors and everything. You just hoping that you were going to survive, and that was it.
No health and safety really whatsoever, but it was a great place to watch football.
Sure. Well, I'm Nigel Summers and I'm the chairman of the Brighton Hove Albion Supporters Club. I'm also doing a 2-year spell as a member of the Brighton Hove Albion Fan Advisory Board. The man who came in and took over the Albion, 2 of them really, Greg Stanley and Bill Archer, and they bought a company, an off-the-shelf company, for £100, and they used that to buy the assets of the Albion, both the club, the shirt, the name, the club, and the history and everything, and importantly the ground. And their aim always was to sell the ground to a company who would then develop the ground. And so they came up with a cockeyed plan for the club to go and move somewhere else. They had no plans, they had no planning permission, they had no relationship with the council other than a very bad one. And they came up with ground sharing at Portsmouth as a solution. Well, it was a disaster. The last game of the 95-96 season was against York City, and the Albion fans were absolutely sure this was going to be the last ever game at the stadium, and were so upset that they rioted, for want of a better word, or went on the pitch, smashed the goals up, sat on the pitch, dug the pitch up, and the game was abandoned after 16 minutes. But the Albion fans were so desperate for the club, for the Football League, for the FA to do something about the ownership of the club. We felt we had nothing else we could do. The next day the club agreed a £480,000 hire scheme with the new owners, Chartwell, and so we were allowed to stay there for another year. And that last year, which culminated in May '97, was, as I say, absolute lowest ebb. The team went down and down. At home they were terrible, away they were worse, and the manager got sacked, Jimmy Case, and every game was a different protest. There were walkouts, the signal went up and everybody left with a quarter of an hour to go. Amazing scene. There were boycotts, the Mansfield game, where most people refused to go in. There was a crowd of about 1,500. When they appointed Steve Gritt, we were 11 points clear at the bottom of the 4th division, or Division 2 as you call it now. So we're absolutely adrift and hopeless, terrible form. Steve Gritt turned that around, and I think we only dropped 1, 2 or 3 points at home the rest of the season. So the last game at the Goldstone was April the 26th, 1997, where it was a miserable day. It was pouring with rain. The ground was packed in all those areas allowed to be packed. Most of the East Terrace was closed off because they said it was unsafe. It was just a way of keeping the crowd numbers down.
The atmosphere there was, a lot of it was against the board, so that's sort of the football in a way comes second.
So yeah, the corner came over and there was a header at the far post by, I believe, the centre half. It was Hobson, and here we are today. Amazing.
Sora's header, punched off the lane by O'Connor. Sturridge comes off the bar. Sora! Stuart Sora has got the goal.
Stuart Storer comes in at the what would have been the near post from the corner and volleyed it into the roof of the net, and mayhem ensued. People coming on the pitch, and he's going and doing a body slide down towards the corner, and it was captured well on TV. But it was the fact that we got a goal rather than it was a quality goal. I don't think if you imagine that team at that time, I don't think we scored a quality goal all season because we weren't a quality team. But we got the result was more important than the state of the goal.
Would you say that the current squad is the best squad we've had in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without doubt.
Best in history?
Yes.
But compared to today, no comparison, I'm afraid.
And would you say that the current Brighton team is the best Brighton team, like, in history?
I'm not going to think about that, definitely.
And is this Brighton team that we have now the best Brighton team in history?
Oh, without doubt.
My final question, just is this current Brighton team the best Brighton team ever?
Yeah, it's the best in every single regard. There will be young people out there who've never seen Brighton have a bad season, and that's quite incredible. I was just talking about to somebody else. Graham Potter was amazing, and now De Zerbi's it. So the collection of players, the group of players, the way we play, the stadium, the strength in depth, the training ground, this is the best time ever. And old people realise that, and young people I think appreciate it as well. And although you get people complaining about nonsense, even the terrible VAR decisions, when you put it into context of terrible VAR decisions potentially costing us a place in the Champions League, you have to kind of pinch yourself to think, is that how bad it is? It's fantastic. This is the best time there's ever been.
What a strike from Enciso!